everyone. How are you? This is Gilbert Gelado. I'm talking to you here from Private Corporate Counsel headquarters downtown Orlando. This is Tufts on Tax, sponsored by Private Corporate Counsel. And today we are going back to talking about taxes, where all your tax questions and answers are here with Mr. T. Scott Tufts. T. Scott, how are you?
Good to be with you.
Good to be with you too.
Welcome back, Gilbert.
Welcome. Thank you.
So Gilbert's my trusted production man and keeps me straight. And so today I didn't give him any heads up what we're talking about today, but an important topic that will interest your business folks. If you are in a corporate type structure and you're an officer of your corporation, you need to know that in the tax world, that will presumptively make you an employee for payroll tax purposes. So if you find yourself getting a title in an organization, the little alarm should go off in your head and say, okay, what are the rules on whether I am or am not, for tax purposes, an employee, solely because you have that title? And so you get an officer title. What will be the test will be, are you providing anything more than nominal services and receiving pay for what you're doing? Okay? So the IRS carefully prescribes these situations so that if you obviously have a title but no substance to it, I mean, you've got some title but you're not getting paid, and you're doing something totally different, it's possible to say that you're not an employee in that situation. An example might be, theoretically, that you're performing some contract work that's clearly 1099 and you're not getting paid as an officer of the company. It would be possible to keep those separate, but it's going to get scrutinized, because if you are an officer and you're getting paid for those services in any way, and those services are substantial, and you're kind of a big, important person in the organization, or your authority is important, or your title is important, and there's pay anywhere around you coming from that company, you're going to be a presumptive employee under the tax laws. And so last year, a case came out that caught my eye, Ready Foundation, and it dealt with this very issue, which was looking at whether you are what we call a statutory employee under the Internal Revenue Code. And of course, with respect to that, the assertion was, well, I was an independent contractor. And they said, well, not so fast. And then they said, well, I want to defend on the basis that even if I got it wrong, I'm protected by Section 530. Now, what Section 530 is a safe harbor that says, let's say independent contractor employee, it's a close call, you did your best to get it right. This Section 530, if you meet all of its criteria, can defend you against someone saying, well, we're going to reclassify you as an employee. If you have a good faith basis and you looked at it and you made your best call, then the close but no cigar type situation will protect and honor that status if you have consistently maintained it. So that's Section 530. So what happened in the Ready Foundation case from the tax court in 2022 was they tried to argue, well, we tried to get this employee independent contractor decision right. We're paying this officer a 1099, but we didn't view the services as substantial. Therefore, 530 should apply and protect against reclassifying those payments as wages. And the court said, nope, you've kind of gotten too close. Now, it was a nonprofit organization for whom the officer was set up to work for, and there was also a question about what those services were for. So again, not to complicate it too much, just know, officer, you get a title, you're kind of wearing that on your sleeve, and you're receiving pay for that. You need to understand that you're probably an employee, presumptively an employee, and if you have any questions in this regard, get to someone like me, talk to your accountant, make sure they're on top of this, but if they're not, get to somebody like myself who can help walk you through how that analysis works. All right? So very important issue as we go forward. And as part of this, this kind of dovetails, Gilbert, with what is happening, exciting things that are going on here at Private Corporate Counsel, because it's the opportunity for folks to get the kind of in-trenches business advice that they need on the development of a business. And so the group here is getting that done, and again, that's an awesome thing. And as part of that, how you're structured, who are you going to be your officers? How are you going to set up the company properly? What kind of skills do they have? How do you line up your workforce and getting the job done on a day-to-day basis? And then what kind of authority do they have? And so that's kind of important, and we talk about that. And for you folks that are operating not in corporate form but LLC form, remember that has a different terminology. We've talked about that, Gilbert, on prior episodes. We've got manager and member and all these kind of confusing terms. Folks sometimes bring officer-like terms to the role of an LLC. They'll say, hey, I'm the president of my LLC, and you can do that, but your internal documents need to walk that through, and you probably need that statement of authority filed with the Secretary of State, clearly putting the world on notice what authority you have to sign contracts, execute deeds, and so forth. So again, if you have a kind of governance issue, that's something that you want to look at closely. And certainly at PCC, Private Corporate Counsel, there's the opportunity to get this kind of entrenched setup, structuring, and development and assistance with that. And so it's just a great thing to have if you're developing a business. So I want to thank again Private Corporate Counsel sponsoring this episode of Tufts on Tax. And Gilbert, as we roll forward to more exciting episodes, we're going to be looking in this time of year at taxes. And so we'll come around for, we have our webinar, not just on crypto and taxes, but we also are looking at a one on Where's My K1. That'll be coming up. And then we're also going to be talking about NIL and the kind of things that folks deal with there and other topics of interest. So as we roll this out and keep going here, we'll get to these topics that are of interest to our audience.
Yeah, and you have a webinar on April 3rd.
Yep.
That's on cryptocurrency. Now, of course, Private Corporate Counsel is for any small business owners, entrepreneurs, and if they face the same thing you were mentioning today, these forms and these issues for employees or employers.
Employee independent contractor issues. These kinds of issues, as they get more complicated, can create the kind of situation where someone like myself can step in, give them the advice they need. And so if you need to reach me, you can do so at stufts@pcc.law, stufts@pcc.law, for any of your questions that you might have. And also you can call, phone number at 877-647-7887. So the folks at PCC will receive you if you have just general business needs and want to get into the program. And then otherwise, certainly reach out to me for any of these tax issues and whatnot. So that's an excellent point, Gilbert. And so again, be on the look for these webinars. And then also next time on Tufts on Tax, we'll get the words out to you and how these forms and other issues impact you in the world we're in today. Thank you.